23 years, and my husband and I. My question, we've been here for 23 years, and we've seen lots of changes. My question would be to all three of you, if you can all answer, or just one of you answer, how much of the CMP you all think should be implemented? That's the question.
Did you hear? Yes. The question, I think, if I heard it correctly, is how much of the CMP do we believe ought to be implemented? So I'm going to answer for myself because I don't want to answer for them. They may have a different opinion. But I think it's simple. I'm going to be candid with you. I haven't read the 500 pages inside and out. And if anybody in the room has, God bless you. There's one. There are surely things in the CMP that make a lot of sense. And they've wrapped a lot of stuff into it. For example, the infrastructure issues are mostly buried into the CMP. And if we stop doing that, we'd lose our roads would go to pot and a whole bunch of other amenities go to pot. So that clearly has to be implemented. There may be it may be reasonable, for example, to try to decommission certain areas, although I think that's a significant challenge because of the easements that Cooper owns and the fact that the lot areas you might want to decommission, we don't have clear title, but we also don't have own every lot in between. So how can you decommissioning one and not the next wouldn't solve any problem down the road towards potentially expense for future infrastructure. But that does need to be looked at. There are marketing ideas in that plan, which aren't all bad either. And some of those could probably be implemented more effectively than the marketing plan that we have in place today. Pocket communities, I'm not sure what a pocket community definition is. If it's Medeiros Gardens, that's fine. If it ends up being a whole bunch of zero lot line houses or multi-unit level structures, I'm not sure that's a good idea. I'm not sure the town centers is a good idea. In fact, I'm more than not sure town centers is not a good idea. Now, I don't know if I answered your question, but that's where I'm coming from.
Thank you. What I would like to say is that I agree with the aspects that Tormy talked about, that pulling out of the existing documentation and utilizing it. But the word CMP is a 4-letter word in the village. And whatever, we have to have a plan. We do have to have a vision, and we have to make plans for the rest of 2019 and 2020 and going forward, and maybe what things are going to look like 5 years from now and that sort of thing. But we can never put it back out on the table again and call it the CMP. Thank you.
What Diana said. I think part of the problem is what she mentioned, is that the CMP is a 4-letter word. And every time that somebody who was against something like the town center hears the word CMP, they just go into convulsions. So, as Tormy indicated, there are pieces in that document that are worthwhile. I haven't read it word for word. I have studied it a lot, particularly the implementation tables. But we need to take the infrastructure. We didn't need to pay $500,000 to find out that we had infrastructure issues that need to be done. And that we don't have a marketing program that's not working. These are just common sense things, people. I continue shaking my head because this is not rocket science. This can be done very easily, and it needed to have been done with the input of the village and something of this significance to change the very face of the place that we live required a vote of the people.
My question is, I don't think it's on. Okay.
We can hear you.
Okay. My question is, the last time we had a board election, all the people that were elected to the board promised to be a certain way, like you are, and they flipped. And tell me why you're not gonna flip. Because I even personally went to one of those board members and said, what's the deal? You know, you ran on this platform and now you're doing something completely opposite. And she said, well, because I changed. And I'm like, well, okay, but we voted for you to act a certain way and now you're acting a different way. And that's just kind of not okay. So.
It's an excellent question, and I believe that I've been writing about this since the get-go. You're going to have to trust somebody. 3 people have to be elected. But it's a concern that is out there, and it's a legitimate one. But let me tell you the discussions that we've had in our little group, and tell you maybe why we think this has been happening, and what my personal conviction to you, the property owners, is. This is about character. This is about not telling somebody you're going to do one thing and then doing something else. It's pretty much as simple as that. I believe what's happened to some of these candidates in the past is they go to these orientation sessions and they get fed that the organization is the one that they have the loyalty, obedience, and duty to. The very first thing, if I get elected to the board, and we go to that orientation, and they start talking about our duty to the organization, I'm going to stop them. And I'm going to say, unless you define the organization as the property owners, this orientation needs to cease and desist at this minute. Yeah. The other thing that I know all three of support, because we talked about it, is that we will change the bylaws and the policies that are indicating that we need to be following the organization and not the property owners, and that's who our loyalty is to. So that's on our agenda, and thanks to one of our stellar members of the community, he has gone to the trouble of already rewriting those for us, for you actually, and given us a platform to present at a very first meeting, and for that, thank you, Brian Darst.
When I just talk to board members, how many times this has come up, I don't know. They talk about their fiduciary responsibility. I understand fiduciary responsibility real well. And let me assure you, our fiduciary responsibility as board members and theirs is not to the POA and the POA management. It's to the people that sit in this room and all the other property owners. That's who they should be loyal to. And when we make decisions or we hide behind those words, it's ridiculous. I think what's happened to the people that were elected, a couple of them who had a different platform than what they actually are delivering now is, they got bulldozed by the remaining board members. I can assure you this. I know everybody likes to go with the clique, but I would hope, no matter who the 3 are that get elected, they've got the intestinal fortitude to stand up for their beliefs. I know the 3 of us do. And I'm not going to listen to that baloney. You watch the other board members, what do you get? You almost get a unanimous vote on everything we see. I can assure you, if they put forward policies and procedures and ideas that we don't agree on, and that doesn't mean we'll all agree, all 3 of us will always agree to be the same on every issue, I'll vote no if I don't agree with it. And you'll be able to see how I lived up to my platform.
I'm coming into this post knowing very, very well fiduciary responsibility, because one of my businesses was an investment representative, or in common nomenclature, I was a stockbroker. Now, I didn't make a lot of money as a stockbroker because what I did was I had 150 clients that I started out preparing their taxes. And then I got my license to take care of their investments because I got tired of seeing them being, having investments sold and paying huge taxes on it, and the consequences not being taken into account. I always served my client's best interests far before I ever served mine. And I will serve the property owner's best interests far before I would serve mine. However, I think that our interests are the same. We want what's best for this place, and we want this to continue to be a natural oasis where people can live together in harmony. We need to get rid of some of the crazy rules that are in the protective covenants. Those protective covenants are now in the hands of one of our local leading builders, somebody who's been building homes here since the 80s in Hot Springs Village, because the current covenants make it very impossible for them to do their jobs. You can't have a rock in your yard bigger than 12 inches. I mean, it's ludicrous. And there's also someone who was a standing member of the Architectural Control Committee who's no longer on that committee, who's going to be taking a look at these and advising us. Make sure we've got our bases covered. We are here to serve the property owners, and we will serve you. And if we don't, ask for our removal, because we'll step down if you don't think we're doing the job. Thank you.
Before we get to your question, one comment, something you brought up, the protected covenants. We should be operating under the protected covenants that we all bought our property. And my hope would be that Gene Garner's lawsuit against both the POA and the board, which actually could be us if we're elected, never gets to court, and they realize that those 119 or 15 pages are totally out of line. So with any kind of luck, it'll get fixed through hopefully not the court system, but negotiation.